This is a box, or more accurately, it's a new case. There's a reason why I got this case, and we're going to discover what color this case is, all that good stuff. But give me a second to pull it out of the box, and it's not going to be an unboxing. It's going to be hey, you see the box, and now it's unboxed. So let's go for that. So as you may notice, it's orange. Well, it's black and orange. And that's because, well, if any of you watched any of my live streams on the Purple channel. Oh, by the way, it's just acrylic. Yeah, it's not glass, it's acrylic. Sort of old school. But if any of you guys have watched any of my live streams on the Purple channel, you'll know that right now I'm in the middle of, well, I've been acquiring a whole bunch of Sentinel ships. And most of them have been orange. So I kind of gave in to the dark side. So we'll start putting this together and see what's going on. Even an orange fan in the back. Yep, might as well give in. Now this is a very, very bare bones case. It's lightweight. It's a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be. The screws that hold on the side panel are not captive at all. It's acrylic. There is no actual basement. It's just part of it will be hidden by the acrylic side panel. Orange fans, but there are a couple of them, so we'll have to see how that goes. Looks like there's enough room. There's not going to be a great amount of room for cable management, although I'll be able to hide some back behind here. Looks like there's pretty good space back behind there, but let's take off the other side and see how that looks. So any room for cable management is definitely created by the bevel in this side panel, because it's not created by it's not created by the case itself, which is pretty interesting, because the side panel that has the acrylic window also kind of has that bevel in it. So yeah, at least the styles match. I mean, it's not bad looking. We'll just have to see how it goes. It does look like there's plenty of room to be able to move cables back and forth, but we are going to have to use the side panel as part of what makes allowance for those cables being managed. So yeah, the I/O on it, not horrible. You got a USB 3, you got a couple of USB 2s, all Type A. Looks like headphone and speaker are separate. Microphone and speaker are separate. And then this is either the reset button or to turn the LEDs on and off. I can only figure it's probably the reset button. We'll find out more as we get to it. Doesn't look too bad, but it's very, very lightweight, very thin aluminum, very plastic. No removable grills, it looks like. And you may be saying, why are you so happy with that $40 case from diypc? And I'm telling you, it's going to be replacing this pink case that costs $20 more. And I don't think it's because of the side panel, because this one came with broken RGB and a bunch of other stuff. And it's just, airflow is horrible. And we're just going to have to see. But I think I got a better deal with the $40 case, even though it's thinner and has an acrylic, than this one that costs 20 bucks more. So we'll just have to see how it looks. But in any case, yeah, the Xeon and all that stuff's going to go in there. And I might either leave this GPU or change it to a 1660. I haven't figured out yet. The 1660 still has better driver support than this card. This card is now going to be legacy drivers only from AMD. So it's going to be harder to get drivers on newer games. So the 1660 might be the way to go if I'm keeping that Xeon and still think I'm going to make it a gaming PC. Now, there is something I absolutely want to mention. It's 2023. Why? Why do the fans have Molex connectors? Okay. Yep. Rant over. And I'm definitely not upset at how easy this is to take apart. I mean, this is very, very easy. Definitely an inexpensive fan, but that's okay. We're gonna take a look at all this. But it snapped apart really, really easily. So yeah, not upset about that at all. Another slight drawback to this case is it does have some of these punch out. Now the first tab was held in by a screw, so that's fine. But some of these others you have to break these tabs out for the slots. And of course that's what the GPU is going to go. I've got a thick GPU, so it is going to take up 2 slots. But you know what? We'll have this up and running in just a few minutes. Cable management's coming along pretty well. The backside of it looks pretty decent. And yeah, we'll be rocking and rolling. I do kind of like the way that SSD mounts in there. I have to admit, I like the way that mounts. It's pretty good. Everything else is good. Cable management's going to be okay. We'll be up and running in just a few minutes. All right, got everything connected, everything put in there, and now it's time to hit the button. Woo-hoo. Orange. Oh, we're gonna have to check that out. Just a quick PSA: if you're going to hook up an SSD or some other drive, make sure the SATA cable's connected. Good to go. This build ends up looking okay. I do kind of like the bright orange. There's no changing that. I mean, I can swap out the fans or put light controls, and I might do something like that. But it ends up being, reasonably tidy in there. And, yeah. We got a display and all that stuff, so we're going to start doing some testing.
So other than forgetting to put the SATA cable on, everything else came up and worked just fine. Graphics came up, the BIOS did see the memory and all that stuff, so there weren't any kind of issues. I was able to go ahead and once I connected the SATA cable, went straight into the operating system, which in this case is Windows 10. I was able to go ahead and run DDU, the driver uninstaller that's freely available for download. I went ahead and ran that. Installed the drivers for the GTX 1660, reran some of my benchmarks again. Now, I'm not going to break all these benchmarks down, but I will go ahead and show them. And doing them from Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Borderlands 3, Forza Horizon 5, and Cyberpunk 2077. And I'm also adding CS2, being that esports type title. Now, they did make some adjustments to CS2. It runs on DirectX now instead of DirectX 9. It's 11, so it is an updated version of that. It is a little bit more difficult to run, but still a very good. It's a very good example of an esports title. In most of these, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Borderlands, Cyberpunk, Forza Horizon, and all that stuff, the GTX 1660 did perform better, and will have an opportunity to perform better than that RX 580, especially the cut-down version of 2048. Those drivers aren't going to be updated as often anymore, but on the GTX 1660 they should be, so that's a good sign. So these will only get a little bit better. And I did see a decent performance boost. Not great, but decent. Now, where that changes and got a little bit confusing was in CS2. I expected to see about the same or maybe even a little bit better performance in that, and it actually saw just a little bit worse. So I'll have to go back and find out why that is, why that ended up being a little bit better on the AMD than it was on the 1660. But I thought I had the settings the same, 1080p high in both of them. I'll have to go back and kind of look at that. In any case, ran very, very smoothly. Didn't have any problem trying to run any of these. And I'm sure, especially with that 1660 still having support, then we won't have any issues. Haven't seen anything trip up this Xeon processor either. So in my mind, we're spending about the same, maybe just a little bit more for 1660 than we would have for that RX 580. And the case was $20 cheaper. So we're still hanging in that $300 budget range. And this actually will have a little bit further support because, that 1660 is going to have ongoing driver support, whereas the 580 is not going to anymore. So I feel pretty good about that. And we're not trading a whole lot of difference between the 6 gig that's on the 1660 and the 8 gig that's available on the 580. So I still think that's pretty okay as well. Now, the case itself is not the most expensive thing in the world, and it's not high quality either. It's very thin aluminum, and the fans in it are fairly loud. They're not really, really loud, but they're not nearly as quiet as the Corsairs or Cooler Masters or whatever that I've had in some other builds, and definitely a lot louder than any Noctua fan that you're going to put in there. But that's sort of stretching your budget a little bit. And we still manage with this to get it under $300. So it's still a good fit. And it's sort of a theme type build. Now I am going to have to investigate a little bit because my USB 3 on the top, that comes from the motherboard to the front panel connector. That didn't quite work right, or it's not quite working right, and I have to track that down a little bit. But everything else worked. USB 2 worked, the audio and all, obviously the power button, and so we're in good shape there. Overall, this ends up being a pretty decent little theme build. Now, as it just so happens, as I'm playing No Man's Sky more often now, I'm not running into nearly as many orange ships. But still, it was pretty cool. For a while there, I was running into a bunch of them, and this was a perfect kind of offshoot of that, or a perfect kind of theme of that. Very affordable. Like I said, $300 for that Xeon and that 1660 combination. Does great in the games that I tested it in, about what I expect, or maybe just a little bit better than I expected, and you can't beat it with a stick. With the rest of the stuff, say the free monitor and all that stuff that I got before, free keyboards, monitor, and all that I got from the local IT department, yeah, this ends up being a really, really solid thing, and it doesn't cost a whole lot of money. So I got to be happy about that too. So overall, would I do it again? Oh yeah, I'm probably going to do it again. It's much easier to work with a regular motherboard combination with, let's say, a Xeon or an older 4000 series or 5000 series CPU than it is to try to pull it out of a Dell Optiplex or a Lenovo or something, because a lot of those times, those HPs and all that stuff, they have proprietary connectors, and it makes it more difficult to work in moving into another case. This worked out pretty well. I was able to swap from the pink case to this one, and it worked, and I like it. And the airflow in this one's definitely a lot better than the pink case. You can hear the fans though. Yeah, they are kind of audible, but not so much that it's an inconvenience to my gameplay. And even when things were going hot and heavy and the game was fully loaded, it wasn't anything that was really bothersome. So I still think this is a success, and the temps stayed pretty decent. So I can't complain about that either. So overall, yeah, it was a success, and I'm glad I did it, and I will probably continue to do little experiments like this just to see if it works or if it's worth it. But if we're looking at newer options, you can get an Intel 12100 and a motherboard for less than $100 a piece, or around $100 a piece, so that you're starting there at $200, and then you're still having to add, a graphics card, some memory and all. But it's not unreasonable to start with a budget like that you can actually kind of upgrade from. So is it worth it to go ultra budget with older pieces like this? It's fun. Don't know if it's necessarily, I don't know. That's gonna have to be you guys' call. I enjoyed it. I had fun, and I'll continue to do this. And I think there is a place, especially if you're buying components that you're not sure, or somebody's trying to sell dirt cheap as maybe not working. I think that that works out pretty well, and we can definitely you can definitely take advantage of that. But hey, to each their own, and we're only going to be able to get as good a performance as some of these components will allow, and we'll eventually find out where that stops. It might be the thing that hangs it up might be the operating system. As we move from Windows 10 to Windows 11, some of these older platforms aren't supported on Windows 11, and that might end up becoming a problem. Who knows? Anyway, if you got anything out of the video, go ahead and throw a like on it for me. If you're not already subscribed, please do. Still trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. Would love to do it by the end of the year. Don't think it's going to happen in the last, 5-6 days. But it would be great to, see a dent put in that, and let's get this place monetized. Get this thing up to 1,000 and get things going right. Any suggestions, comments, whatever, go ahead and leave them down below. I hope whatever you're doing for this holiday season, whatever you're celebrating, I hope it's amazing. Don't forget to visit me on the other socials and stuff like that. But if you don't do anything else, just do me one small favor, and that's be kind to each other, especially this type of year. It's the end of the year. We ought to be getting ready for New Year's resolutions and all that stuff, and maybe one of them could be just, we can try to be a little kinder than normal. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. Hold the door open, smile, wave, say good morning, something, anything, The world would be a lot better if we were just a little bit nicer to each other sometimes. So that's all I got. Until next time, I've got other stuff, other projects I'm working on. I actually even ordered an FX chip to go on an AM3 platform because, that notebook was an A10. And I thought, I got to be able to do better than that with that old platform. We'll see. Anyway, until I get myself into something I got no business getting into, I'll see you later. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and you guys take care, okay?